everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Hannah. If you're new here, I am a senior at Pepperdine, and one of my favorite things to do in my free time is to get a mug of literal tea and spill you some of it on college, Pepperdine, all the nuances of Pepperdine's culture. A lot of you guys DM me on Instagram or you leave comments about specific topics and questions that you guys have about college and Pepperdine specifically. So from that, I've collected a few specific topics and questions that we'll touch on today. And I also polled my Pepperdine classmates on my Instagram story so that I can hopefully get a more wide and accurate range of opinions. Let's get into it. Also, I feel like I'm on a podcast right now with this. I kind of love it. Okay, so the first question is, if you could give your Pepperdine freshman self a tip, what would you say? Don't be afraid to change your major, especially your first year. Change your major early. So Pepperdine is a liberal arts school, meaning there are a lot of GEs here. We'll talk about that later as well, but basically that means because you have so many GEs, if you decide to change your major later on, there's a big risk that you might not be able to graduate in 4 years, which is fine, but like, that's extra money. Talk to your advisor, talk to professors, talk to classmates who are a part of majors that you might be interested in. Get as much information as possible about your current major and anything else you're interested in so that you can make the most educated decision early on so that you don't get into a situation where you're stuck at Pepperdine for a year or two longer than you expected, because that definitely happens. I got a lot of answers from people saying don't fall into the trap of creating a Pepperdine brand. Basically, don't change yourself to fit in, don't pretend to be something that you're not. Because Pepperdine is so small, I do think that there is a lot of pressure for people when they arrive on campus to know as many people as possible and fit in with as many people as possible, because there's a clickiness that comes with a smaller community. And I've talked about clickiness a lot in my previous Spill the Tea videos, so I won't touch on it too much here. Just be aware that it's easier than you think to kind of change yourself to fit in with certain groups of people on campus, and realize that people who are worth hanging out with and spending time with and creating relationships with won't want you to change. They will accept you exactly as you are. You won't have to feel like you're pretending to be something that you're not, to be with friends who are genuine. And if you're hanging out with people who aren't genuine just for the sake of not being lonely, you're taking away a potential space in your life for the right person, the right friend group, which is what you deserve.
And that's the tea.
Don't feel pressured to go abroad. Okay, I remember the first day I arrived on campus for NSO, Pepperdine was already shoving study abroad down your throat. I mean, they had brochures, they had pamphlets, they had videos, they had alumni or just people who have gone abroad already talk about their experiences to freshmen. Like, it is a big thing. I was like overwhelmed because I was like, I just got here to Malibu and now you're telling me to go to like Europe. That being said, it makes sense because Pepperdine has the best, or one of the best, study abroad programs in the United States. What I think this person is saying is don't feel pressure to go abroad for a whole semester or a whole year if that's not actually something that you want to do, or if you think that you would do well in. Don't give into the pressure of going. That being said, I definitely recommend you to look into all the study abroad programs, and especially summer ones if you're not interested in going for a whole semester or a whole year, because I remember thinking like that would be a lot. Maybe I'll just do a summer for now, and no regrets. Especially STEM majors, because a lot of STEM majors, they want to go abroad, but because most of their science classes are only offered on the Malibu campus, they can only stay here, but you can definitely go abroad for a summer. You are bigger than your problems. Tea, and that's true. Okay, next topic, Greek life. Juicy, let me just say that. So a lot of people DM'd me about Greek life and what the culture is like here at Pepperdine. So let me just say that Greek life at Pepperdine is not nearly as intense as other schools. If I went to a southern school or just any bigger school where Greek life was like in your face, I couldn't have done it. I feel like I only rushed at Pepperdine because it's so much more chill here. That being said, even though it's chill, it's still Greek life. I hear a lot of non-Greek life people complain about Greek life and say, oh, it's just like a social hierarchy thing. It's like another way to propel the clickiness at Pepperdine. Personally, I'm a part of Tridel at Pepperdine, and I'm going to give you my favorite parts of Greek life, and then I'm going to go into least favorite parts of Greek life. But first, the pros. Wonderful people I've met actually amazing girls through my sorority. Fun social events. You have formal, you have date night, you have mixers, you have all these different things to look forward to throughout the semester, and sometimes it's just nice having like built in social interaction. Philanthropy. Every philanthropy for every sorority and fraternity is very purposeful, intentional, and just really good causes, and it feels really genuinely good to be able to contribute to other chapters' philanthropies and stand up for our own while hosting like fundraisers and different events and be around your chapter, your girlfriends raising money for a good cause. And also networking. Being a part of any community on campus obviously is a great way to network, especially with Greek life, because you are a part of this chapter who you know has your back. And after college, it can really help with any career advancement or opportunity. And also just feeling like you're a part of something and being able to root for your chapter is just a really nice feeling. Now for the cons of Greek life, I asked, what is your least favorite part of Greek life on my story? This guy said the people. I was like, damn. But then he elaborated. He said, I wish it was more communal, less cliques. So this guy is a part of a fraternity. Again, it's the clickiness theme. I think that's one of the main recurring motifs throughout my videos, especially Greek life is a part of that. I'm a part of Greek life, but I can say that, a lot of non-Greek life people feel like they can't be friends or initiate conversation with Greek life people because of that social boundary. And this guy said exactly that. He's a part of a fraternity too, and he said, people expect you to have no respect for people outside your organization / Greek life. Of course, there are Greek life people who fit that stereotype and only hang out with Greek life people, and they're lame. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of non-Greek life people let that stereotype infiltrate their heads too much, and they themselves don't take any initiative, or they just feel too intimidated to talk to Greek life people, and there's just a lot of potential friendships and relationships there that could have blossomed, but just because of a social stereotype, they didn't. Someone said, actual rush, feeling like people didn't want you. A lot of people said that rush was their least favorite part of Greek life, and that makes sense because that's when the exclusive air of Greek life is really shown. That's like kind of the whole point of having different groups, right? Is like we are only going to accept people into our chapter who we feel will contribute to our chapter specifically, have values that align with our chapters, and whose personalities will just like mix well with the rest of us. I remember freshman year, I didn't rush freshman year, I rushed sophomore year, but some of my friends rushed freshman year, and it was hard to run Cheng. It's like, oh no, there's something wrong with me. And especially when you're a freshman rushing for the first time on this brand new college campus with all these new strangers around you, that's like a nightmare because you're already kind of in a vulnerable position. You're already kind of questioning yourself, and you get rejected from an organization that you wanted to be a part of. That's like salt in the wound. That's why I think rushing as a sophomore or a junior even has way more benefits than rushing as a freshman. I know a lot of people think differently. They're like, oh, it really anchored me and my sorority to have been there all 4 years of college from the start. So this is a very subjective thing. If you think that you're a little bit too vulnerable right now, and that if you did get rejected from an organization, it would just actually make you feel like trash, I would recommend you to wait and rush the next year or junior year. Superficial clout that goes into it, just going to Greek life for the wrong reason. When someone is a part of an organization or anything for that sole reason of just wanting clout or like a boosted social reputation, it's very obvious, and it doesn't work well in their favor usually. Makes you feel part of something but not necessarily connected to the girls. I think especially at Pepperdine, because of the sophomore year gap when most people go abroad, it kind of causes this disconnect in each chapter. Think about it. You join an organization your freshman year, you go abroad for a whole year, you don't get to see them, or maybe you only have like 1 or 2 people from your organization going with you abroad. You come back your junior year, and everyone that you knew your freshman year, like all the seniors, are gone. And the new class of sophomores are also abroad, so they're gone. By the time they come back, you're a senior and they're a junior. Like, you've missed out on this huge chunk of your chapter, basically. And also, this is just where personal responsibility comes in. It's just like, how much energy and effort do you want to put in to the activities of your sorority and fraternity? Just like with anything, the more you give to it, the more you get out of it. The next question is, did studying abroad live up to your expectations? Overwhelming answer was yes, 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 capital S, exclamation points. However, I really appreciated that a lot of them were honest with saying that even though study abroad was overall a good experience, it was really hard as well. It was hard to be alone, and as someone, like, I'm an extrovert, but I need my space and time alone sometimes. And I remember when I was abroad for that month in London, it was just hard. I was in a 6-person room. A lot of people said it matters most who you go with. I mean, this is true for just life in general, right? It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't even matter what you're doing as much as who you're with. A lot of people that I know who didn't have a good experience abroad, or at least didn't have like the best experience, it was because the groups of friends that they made abroad were toxic, or just they didn't get along well. So try your best to be intentional with who you're hanging out with. Don't trust people too easily. Don't tell people everything that's on your mind. Be a little bit more skeptical almost, because the thing about going abroad is, I mean, if you thought that Pepperdine was small on campus in Malibu, you're going abroad with like a class of 50 to 70 people, I want to say. That is small. Rumors spread quick. I mean, it can get really cliquey really fast. I'm not saying to be like completely cynical, but just be wise. Also, a lot of people said that just being in a foreign country is hard in and of itself. You are in a completely new place, and for a lot of people, that's very overwhelming for their mental and emotional health. So just understand that if you go abroad, if you're having a hard time adjusting, that's okay. I think a lot of people actually have a harder time adjusting than they would like to admit. My next question was, do you think that Pepperdine has too many GEs? And unsurprisingly, 96% of people agree that yes, we have too many GEs. I mean, it's to be expected. Pepperdine is a liberal arts and religious school. I feel like Pepperdine could definitely consider knocking out a few for us, because here's the thing. There are a lot of classes that my major doesn't allow me to explore, and I would have loved to have space in my schedule to take some fun classes, but instead I have to take all of these history and religion GEs. It's literally 4:52. It's dark. Okay. Next juicy question is about how Pepperdine treats international students. Interestingly, a lot of you guys who contact me on Instagram are international students looking to come to the United States for college. And I will say, I've heard some stories, not to scare international students, but I think that at any college, unfortunately, any school in the United States, you're going to come across some professors who are just insensitive or say out of pocket things to you, especially if you're a non-white international student. I can just feel a type of, what is it, condescending vibe sometimes from professors to international students. Maybe they don't call on them as much in class because they assume that, like, oh, they don't even know what's really going on that well. I don't want to generalize too much, because there are obviously professors and students at Pepperdine who are extremely accepting, very sensitive. This is way better. Okay. Next, Pepperdine has helped my confidence. Overall, people said yes, so that is great to hear. I would say this is one of the perks of the small size of Pepperdine, is that there's less competition. So it's easier to obtain opportunities like on-campus jobs that align with your major and your interests, receiving mentorship from professors, creating one-on-one relationships with professors, taking up leadership roles in clubs. All these things are just a lot easier and accessible at Pepperdine versus a really big, like, let's say UC school. Like for me with these videos, if I went to UCLA, I mean, the market for like UCLA videos, UCLA content is huge already. With Pepperdine, there just weren't that many videos, so now my videos pop up more frequently when people type in Pepperdine into YouTube. It's like just less competition, more opportunities. Okay, next we're going to talk a little bit about dating. 80% of people agree that Pepperdine is a difficult place to date and find a significant other. And honey, I could not agree more. It is hard. The gender ratio at most American colleges is 60% female, 40% male. So that already makes it a little hard, especially for women who are looking to date men. On top of that, Pepperdine just being small means that there's just less people in general to choose from, and it's smaller, so it's messier because others will know your business like that. I mean, I know so much about people's lives and like sexual and romantic lives people that I have like never had a personal interaction with, but yet I just know things about them because word spreads and everyone knows everyone. Lots of people at Pepperdine do not want to date at Pepperdine for this reason. A lot of them actually exclusively date or hook up outside of Pepperdine. So let me just say, I might make a pie chart, I don't know, but if I don't, just visualize it. I would say that a big chunk of people come into Pepperdine with a high school sweetheart or just some sort of a significant other. They're off the charts because we're not gonna homewreck anyone. The rest either just want to hook up or they don't know what they want. Then you have like the 3% of people who want to have babies. Ring by spring, they're like looking at engagement rings in class, like they are ready to settle down and get married right after graduation with like their cap on. So where does that leave? People who are just single and ready to mingle, looking for an exclusive relationship with a boyfriend or girlfriend. That dateable field, just people who are looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend, is so friggin' small. Okay, we're almost at the end. I wanted to talk about same-sex relationships at Pepperdine. The answer leaned more toward no, with the question, if I was in a same-sex relationship, I'd feel safe and accepted being open about that at Pepperdine. I've only seen maybe like 2 same-sex couples who are open about it on Pepperdine's campus. Again, it's a small size of Pepperdine, but it's also just, I'm sure that there are way more people who are in same-sex relationships or just a part of the LGBT community, but they're just not coming out about it. It's definitely, I think we can all just say it's definitely not as accepting here as it is on other more like liberal campuses. And then finally, I have just this little pep talk, I guess, for you, because I had a really sweet girl DM me on Instagram, and she was just really stressed about how to do well in high school because, you know, it's gonna affect my college, it's gonna affect my career, it's gonna affect my life, like everything just depends on what I'm doing right now. I've said this before, where you go does not matter anywhere as much as how you motivate yourself, how you're able to get yourself out of tough situations, how you're able to proactively create opportunities for yourself or seek out opportunities for yourself and be the best student and girl boss, career woman that you can be, or career man. I don't know who I'm talking to. So yes, try your best in high school, challenge yourself in high school, take on as many AP classes you think you can take without going insane. Prioritize your mental health though, and realize that before you're a student, before you are an employee, before you're anyone's anything, you are a human being who deserves to be present, who deserves to be mindful, who deserves good mental health and emotional health and physical health, who deserves to sleep, who deserves to hang out with people that they love, who deserves to have free time to indulge in things that they love. Before anything else, that is what you are.
And that's the tea.
And I think that is a good place to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. What else do you want to see? What other topics do you want to see about college, high school, Pepperdine, life in general? And I will see you guys next time for another video. Bye!